Picture this. At exactly 2 a.m., satellites detect dozens of missile launches lighting up the sky above Taiwan Strait. By the time the world wakes up, Chinese forces have landed on Taiwan's shores, leaving fiery trails against the twilight. Sirens wail, a chilling symphony of impending chaos. This is not a scene from a movie, but a terrifying possibility that looms over the region. For months, whispers of war had been building. Military analysts, former defense officials, even leaked documents pointed to one possibility: China wouldn't wait. Then came the article from 1945, a U.S. military-focused publication. The headline was stark: China will launch an invasion of Taiwan in the next few months. Many dismissed it as alarmist, but deep in the intelligence circles, the countdown had already begun. For the Philippines, a nation inextricably linked to Taiwan by geography and shared destiny, the implications are stark and undeniable. The world watches with bated breath as tensions in the Taiwan Strait reach fever pitch. As the conflict escalates, the Philippines is rapidly repositioned from bystander to tactical ground. The country sits on the front lines of this geopolitical struggle, its fate intertwined with that of Taiwan. The question is not if the Philippines will be impacted, but how severely. Why would the U.S. defend Taiwan? Let's start with semiconductors. Taiwan produces over 60% of the world's chips, and more than 90% of the most advanced ones. These are the tiny brains that power everything, from smartphones and cars, to fighter jets and missile systems. If China seized Taiwan, it wouldn't just control a vital resource, it would cripple the economies of its rivals overnight. Then there's the Bashi Channel, a narrow waterway separating Taiwan from the Philippines, is not just a geographical feature, it is a strategic choke point of immense geopolitical significance. Through this channel flows a significant portion of global trade, including vital oil and gas shipments that fuel the economies of East Asia. For Japan, South Korea, and Taiwan, the Bashi Channel is their lifeline to the energy resources of the Middle East. The channel's strategic importance is further amplified by its role in military strategy. For the United States, the Bashi Channel represents a critical pathway for naval forces operating in the Western Pacific. In the event of a conflict in the Taiwan Strait, control of the Bashi Channel would be paramount for both sides. China is acutely aware of the Bashi Channel's strategic value and has been steadily enhancing its military capabilities in the region. The People's Liberation Army Navy has been rapidly modernizing, acquiring advanced warships, submarines, and anti-ship missiles. This military buildup is part of China's broader strategy to project power and assert its dominance in the region. The Philippines, nestled along the eastern edge of the Bashi Channel, finds itself caught in the crosshairs of this geopolitical rivalry. The country's long coastline and numerous islands make it vulnerable to Chinese pressure. The presence of American military forces in the Philippines, a legacy of a long-standing security alliance, further complicates the situation. The Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement, signed in 2014, grants the United States increased access to Philippine military bases. This agreement, seen by many as a response to China's growing assertiveness in the region, has allowed the U.S. to pre-position equipment and troops in the Philippines, enhancing its ability to respond to crises in the region. The EDCA has been met with mixed reactions in the Philippines. Supporters argue that it bolsters the country's defense capabilities and serves as a deterrent against Chinese aggression. Critics, however, express concerns about the Philippines being drawn into a potential conflict between the U.S. and China. The return of U.S. military forces to the Philippines after their withdrawal in 1992 is a testament to the enduring security partnership between the two countries. However, it also highlights the Philippines' precarious position in the shadow of a rising China. The country must navigate this complex geopolitical landscape carefully, balancing its national interests with its international commitments. The potential consequences of a conflict in the Taiwan Strait for the Philippines are significant and far-reaching. Because if the U.S. chooses to defend Taiwan, and all signs suggest it will, it's very likely those Philippine bases will be used to launch or support operations. And if that happens, China may see the Philippines not just as a neighbor but as a threat. Also, the Philippines relies heavily on trade with both Taiwan and China. Disruptions to shipping lanes in the South China Sea and the Bashi Channel would severely impact the Philippine economy, leading to shortages of essential goods, rising prices, and economic hardship for millions. The Philippines imports a wide range of goods from Taiwan and China, including electronics, machinery, and consumer products. A conflict would disrupt these supply chains, leading to shortages and higher prices for businesses and consumers. The Philippine manufacturing sector, which relies heavily on imported components, would be particularly hard hit. Furthermore, the Philippines is a major importer of agricultural products, particularly rice, from its neighbors. A conflict could lead to food shortages and price spikes, disproportionately impacting the poorest and most vulnerable segments of society. The Philippine government must take proactive steps to diversify its import sources and strengthen its domestic food security. The invisible war: cyber threats and disinformation. Beyond the traditional battlefield, the Philippines also faces the insidious threat of cyber attacks and disinformation campaigns. China has invested heavily in its cyber warfare capabilities and has a track record of using them against countries it deems as adversaries. In the event of a conflict over Taiwan, the Philippines could become a target of Chinese cyber attacks aimed at disrupting critical infrastructure, such as power grids, communication networks, and financial institutions. These attacks could cripple the Philippine economy and sow chaos and confusion among the population. Moreover, China is adept at using disinformation and propaganda to influence public opinion and advance its interests. The Philippines could see a surge in online disinformation campaigns designed to undermine public trust in the government, sow discord among the population, and erode support for the Philippines' security partnership with the United States. Preparing for the unthinkable: a call to action. In the face of these mounting challenges, the Philippines must take concrete steps to prepare for the potential fallout from a conflict over Taiwan. This requires a multi-pronged approach that encompasses national defense, economic resilience, and societal preparedness. On the national defense front, the Philippines must continue to modernize its armed forces and enhance its maritime domain awareness capabilities. This includes investing in new equipment, improving training, and strengthening coordination with allies. The Philippines must also bolster its cyber defenses to counter the growing threat of Chinese cyber attacks. Economic resilience is paramount. The Philippines must reduce its dependence on imports from any single country, particularly for essential goods like food and medicine. This requires diversifying its trading partners, promoting domestic production, and building up strategic reserves. Community first: the strength of Filipinos. The Filipino spirit of bayanihan, the tradition of communal unity and cooperation, will be crucial in overcoming the challenges that lie ahead. Strong communities are more resilient in the face of adversity. Filipinos should take proactive steps to prepare their families and communities for potential disruptions. This includes having emergency plans in place, stocking up on essential supplies like food, water, and medicine, and strengthening community bonds. Local initiatives such as community gardens, neighborhood watch programs, and disaster preparedness training can empower communities to better cope with crises. By working together, Filipinos can create a safety net that protects the most vulnerable and ensures that no one is left behind. Holding the line: the role of government and allies. The Philippine government has a crucial role to play in preparing the country for the potential consequences of a conflict in the Taiwan Strait. This includes providing clear and timely information to the public, strengthening critical infrastructure, and coordinating with international partners. The government must also be prepared to counter disinformation campaigns and cyber attacks. This requires investing in cyber defenses, raising public awareness about disinformation tactics, and working with social media companies to combat the spread of false information. International cooperation will also be essential. The Philippines should work closely with its allies, particularly the United States, Japan, and Australia, to share intelligence, coordinate responses, and provide mutual support in the event of a conflict. A time for resolve: securing a peaceful future. The specter of conflict in the Taiwan Strait is a stark reminder of the interconnectedness of security and prosperity in the Indo-Pacific region. The Philippines, standing at the crossroads of this geopolitical maelstrom, has a pressing interest in a peaceful resolution to the Taiwan issue. While the challenges are significant, the Filipino people have a long and proud history of resilience, resourcefulness, and courage. By embracing the spirit of bayanihan, by preparing for the unthinkable, and by working together with its allies, the Philippines can navigate these perilous times and emerge stronger on the other side. Let us hope that wisdom and diplomacy will prevail, and that the dark clouds of conflict will give way to a brighter future for all.